once again, and this is the sixth phase. This is the sixth phase of polling in West Bengal. I mean, I'm here in Barrackpur, and Barrackpur, I was reading the piece also which you wrote earlier that today is going to be very important to judge the clout of two key people. One, of course, is Mukul Roy, and second, of course, is Arjun Singh. Now, Barrackpur, just to give a quick sense of history, is very interesting. This is also a place known for its mutinies. So when Mangal Pandey, he kind of rebelled because those greased cartridges were used by the Britishers in the new rifle. That kind of mutiny began as far as the soldiers were concerned. I would say a kind of a mutiny was there within the TMC when Arjun Singh came and he won, defeated Dinesh Trivedi, who was a member of parliament from here, and ironically, he is now today with the BJP. Tremendous amount of clout Arjun Singh had in this area is considered, like when I talk to people here, I was at a roadside dhaba, they all admitted that, he's kind of very, very powerful. That's going to be put to test today. But Lok Sabha elections, assembly elections, very often is very different. And also, this is where I'm sitting. In fact, coming to you live from is also the area where Manish Shukla was killed and the TMC was accused. And the BJP is making lawlessness also a big issue over here. You've, of course, been traveling also. Do you think Arjun Singh would be able to kind of replicate? Of course, we don't want to predict elections, but what's the sense you got on the ground?
Yeah, I was in Barrackpur last week. So, if you go around the place, you'll see all posters having Arjun Singh's, face on them along with Mr. Modi and the local candidate. Obviously, he's a big influence person there for the BJP right now. And not just Barrackpur, I think BJP is depending on both Mukul Roy and Arjun Singh in entire North 24 Parganas district also. We have Mukul Roy's son is contesting, Mukul Roy's Mukul Roy's son is contesting, and Arjun Singh's son as well as brother-in-law are contesting. So it's also kind of a dynasty, kind of a whole family is into this in this phase especially. And interestingly, in Barrackpur, what is I think is a reverse from the rest of the state. Here, the TMC is the one which is saying we want to get rid of Gundaism of Arjun Singh. So, in the rest of the state, it is BJP which says TMC is the one, which has these gundas, which has this cut money, which has this, we want to get rid of the lawlessness. In Barrackpur, it's like completely opposite. So TMC is going door to door and telling people that no, we have clean candidates in Barrackpur and please get rid of Arjun Singh. One TMC leader even told me that Arjun Singh is a family of backstabbers. So they need to be taught a lesson in this election. So that is very interesting that the way the equation has reversed. So I was speaking to Arjun Singh on this. So he was telling me कि कल के election में बहुत झमेला होगा. And he was saying he was sounding very unhappy that the West Bengal police is stopping his voters from coming. Will stop his voters from coming to vote. He also said that central forces should be more upfront in ensuring a free and fair election. So there is a lot of tension on both sides. As you know, Barrackpur, the candidate who's contesting, his son was killed. So there is a big, quite a lot of tension, and BJP has also been expecting that there may be some trouble in Barrackpur. So far, I think it is peaceful,
yes.
And
huge crowds. I've been seeing huge crowds here. It's very peaceful. Of course, no one is going to say anything much. I mean, when I speak to some people, they say we want development. Most of them say we want shanti, they want peace, clearly. And that was at the Titagarh police station area where that actually the Shukla factor took place. But also, Aman, this is something which we've also been talking about, just to shift the focus away from Barrackpur, is the large number of non-Bangla speaking, or rather the Hindi speaking voters over here. I saw a substantial amount in Barrackpur, many parts which are going to vote, Uttar Dinajpur, for example. And, this whole outsider thing she keeps on saying about, yeah, Gujarati, these people are coming from there to spread COVID. And I think this is the first election today in Bengal, which is going to polls amidst this whole COVID entering the election scene in Bengal. I get a sense that this is for Mamata Banerjee to make the point that complete mismanagement, that's what she is alleging, by the BJP. And therefore, that what Modi and Shah say, that, double engine ki sarkar, the development we brought you at the center, we are going to duplicate that in Bengal. She's trying to put a dent into that. That, look, these are the people who actually led to complete COVID chaos. They cannot be trusted with your lives. And therefore, you have to get me back. So therefore, she talks interestingly things like yesterday, there won't be any lockdown, free vaccination. Suddenly, she's written 2 letters to the Prime Minister. Do you get a sense that BJP is a little unnerved by it? Because you also broke this story about how the Prime Minister has re-strategized his campaign, keeping in mind the COVID, and also to send out a message that I'm more interested now in dealing with the COVID crisis, that I'm needed more in Delhi to manage everything, like meeting pharmaceutical giants, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think the BJP will also try and turn the tables on Mamta on this count. I think when the PM comes tomorrow, is clubbing all his 4 rallies now in one day and smaller rallies of less than 500 people. But I think BJP would also try to turn tables on Mamta, that Mamta has not been able to fight COVID in the state. So there have been these murmurs from the BJP. I'm listening from various leaders that Mamta has not built on bed capacity in West Bengal. There is testing is an issue. It is not happening at fast pace. And they were even alleging that Mamta has not held even a video conference on COVID so far. She did hold one yesterday, the first one. So BJP is also accusing Mamta on the COVID front. It is both sides are attacking each other. Obviously, Mamta is making a larger point that BJP's campaign is much bigger, and Mr. Modi is coming tomorrow for 4 rallies. So BJP is TMC is still attacking the BJP with a larger issue. But I think BJP is trying to attack TMC on the state issue. That in your state you have not done anything also on COVID. You had a year, but you have not worked on it. So I think it may reflect in the PM's speeches now tomorrow. He will highlight obviously the COVID factor. I think in his speeches he will tell the people that COVID is important, protocol is important, please maintain distancing. But he may also attack, that the state government should do more on COVID to fight COVID, and vaccination should be increased. So all these points could be interesting coming into as we step into this phase, and also the Matua factor also, of course, is there in this phase. So the seats which are going to poll the high Matua population also. How do you think that will play out in this phase, especially the Matua voter? Do you think they're fully backing the BJP?
Yeah, I mean, but that's also a vote bank which Mamata Banerjee has also been wooing aggressively, and in fact, she goes and meets them. She meets their representatives, and she's trying to make the point: look, the BJP is coming to you only during elections. We have always been around together, but I mean, you must have noticed it yourself, right, Aman? That many in the Matua community feel that they have also been used by Mamata Banerjee, by the Trinamool Congress. You didn't think about us. The fact that we can be an important, influential vote bank is something perhaps TMC never even bothered to look at. See, I often find that TMC's campaign strategy is more reactive. At times, she starts reacting to an agenda which at times is set by the BJP. Whether it's on the caste issue, whether it's on the Matua issue, I guess the voters are very, very smart. They see through all of this.
Yeah, they do absolutely. And also, this whole promise of CA, earlier it was a bit, it was a bit here nor there, because earlier Mr. Amit Shah said that we'll implement CA after vaccination is over. But in the manifesto, the BJP made it absolutely clear that in the first cabinet meeting, we are implementing CA for Matuas. So it's a very clear promise. It's there in black and white. So I think that has also done a trick on the ground. I visited Thakurnagar a bit back when the PM had gone to Bangladesh, to visit the Organdi temple of the Matuas. At that time, I spoke to many people, local Matuas. The feeling was absolutely clear that now it is in black and white. We are getting CAA if the BJP is formed, and we are getting it immediately. So, that confusion which was there in the mind, I think got removed to a great extent amongst the Matua community. And of course, with the kind of candidates they have put, they've also appeased the Matuas in a way by giving the tickets the way they have given. I think BJP will make a significant dent in the Matuas. We should back them as they did in 2019. I think that will stay with them. And Mamta is also right now, I think, focusing more on the next phase. In the last 3 days, she's been camping in Malda and Murshidabad and Dinajpur. She's focusing, I think, more on that, because she's I think, thinking after Sita Kuchi, she has a better chance there with the third front kind of, a bit petering out in those areas. Though, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is there, but we know Rahul is not coming anymore for any more rallies in that area. So I think Mamta is smelling a chance for the first time in Malda and Murshidabad that she can win some
and
seats.
Adhir incidentally is down with COVID himself, which means he's going to be out of bounds for campaigning. And he's a very good speaker. He's a very good orator, and especially in the Murshidabad bend. Before we just quickly wrap up, you touched upon the Muslim factor, because Uttar Dinajpur, parts of it are going to polls today. The next two phases are about Malda and Murshidabad, and that's where she hopes to kind of make up, so to say. And interestingly, because she repeated, like today I was looking at many of the releases which is coming in from the Trinamool Congress. They are talking about the fact that ISF is not letting us vote. They are entering the booths, stopping the TMC voters and the workers as well. She's also trying to play on the fact that ISF, Owaisi, BJP, all of them are the same. They are a B team of each other. And therefore, the Muslims should understand that it's important. Don't waste your vote. Vote for the TMC. See, what she has lost out in many of the phases, particularly the first two phases, she's hoping that if there's a whole consolidation of the Muslim votes behind the TMC, it could work in her favor. Which is why, she's spending 3 to 4 days in Malda. Possibly she'll spend some more time in Murshidabad. and make inroads into that area. So the Muslim vote for her becomes important. I was in Murshidabad also, and over there, as I said last time also, 8 candidates are Muslims and they are from the BJP. There's a large number of Hindu refugee Bangladeshis also. That's where the BJP hopes to make inroads into the Murshidabad area. See, one thing is there about the BJP we all have to accept. Nothing is untouchable. We dare to go everywhere. I mean, I'm not going to go to Murshidabad because that's minority dominated. Many parties like a Congress would perhaps think like that. कि वहां जाके why should we make an effort? हमारा तो कुछ है नहीं. BJP doesn't think like that. They think ahead. And she knows it, which is why she's taking no chances.
Yeah, PM is holding rallies in Malda and Murshidabad, both places.
Yes.
He didn't even say just Malda. He's going to both places. So it's very clear that the BJP is leaving no one stone. I think what Mamta said the day before in a rally in Murshidabad was very important. I think that line sums it up, her approach, that she said to people that, Malda and Murshidabad are very important in this election. And only if I get some seats here, will I be able to form the government. When she says that forming a government, I need seats from Malda and Murshidabad, that is very clear that how much Mamta is banking on these two districts this time, because Mamta just won, I think, 10 or 11 seats out of the 49 in these 4 districts the last time in 2016, even when she got a huge mandate. So I think Malda Murshidabad is the next key thing to see, and both BJP and TMC are fighting a lot in that area very keenly. Let's see what happens.
Yes, let's see what happens. So it's time up because I move on to Ghappara. I'm going to try and catch Arjun Singh. So let's see what he has to say. But as we always say, Aman, the voters are the king. They often spring surprises. So I don't think that any politician should make the mistake of thinking that they know it all. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining, and do give us your feedback on our social media timelines as well. See you again, Aman.
See you. Thank you.